Hey you guys, this is Britta from Ringgold United Methodist. You might be wondering why I have a pie. And this week, Pastor Chris's sermon is about the essential truth of salvation. And he's going to use the verses from Romans chapter 8, verses 15 through 17. And I'm pleased to have Meadow read those for us this week.
You didn't receive a spirit of slavery to lead you back again into fear, but you received a spirit that shows you are adopted as his children. With this spirit we cry, Abba, Father. The same spirit agrees with our spirit that we are God's children. But if we are children, we are also heirs. If we are God's heirs and fellow heirs with Christ, if we really suffer with him, so that we can also be glorified with him.
Thank you so much, Meadow, and for letting Titus join you as well. So let's go back to the pie. How does that have anything to do with salvation? I read a lot this week about how we can sometimes understand salvation as a way for us to be made whole. And so I thought, what better than a whole pie to show you that? The definition of whole means containing all components, complete, not divided or disjoined, not wounded, injured, or impaired, sound or unhurt. It makes it kind of easier to understand. Being one with God makes you complete. That is kind of interesting when you try to look at where the word salvation comes from. And the root word in Latin is from the word salvus. Salvus can be translated as whole, well, and sound. So if you think about what the verses that Meadow read told us, they tell us that we are adopted as God's children. Our spirit agrees with the Holy Spirit, and that we are heirs with Christ. So that brings us back to this whole pie. As a whole, it's great, right? And it just would be terribly incomplete if it were somehow not whole, right? We want it to be whole. We want it to be well and all together, so that we can eat it later after supper, right? That goes along with what, as a church, God would like for us to be as well and whole as we can be. When our path and our desires align with God's, then that's a great way to understand what salvation is, being united with God.